I'm going to call this the Vegas effect. And I'm just uploading a video now on whether or not they're going to fall back next year. And I want to discuss this because it's discussed in this week's hockey news. So there's the cover. Jackpot, Vegas, baby. And there's an interesting article in here on the Golden Knights. And there's a quote in here that makes me say, okay, so this is Alex Ovechkin. You read that, it's like a nightclub. Everybody dancing. It's like, holy, is this a hockey game or a pool party? And you've got the Golden Knights chorus line, Vegas girls up in the stands, and you've got the big castle thing up there too. Like, so Vegas seems to have this effect, and I think everybody expected, oh, they're going to be going out drinking and gambling. I don't think so. And let's discuss Ryan Carpenter, because I think there's something else that goes on with Vegas, and it's really kind of awesome. Carpenter's 27 years old, but never drafted. His first year in majors, he was signed out of Bowling Green University as an undrafted free agent by the Sharks. He plays in Worcester for 12 games in 13-14, 2 points. 14-15, Worcester again, 74 games, 12 goals, 22 assists, 34 points. Nothing spectacular. 15-16, he plays for the San Jose Barracuda. That's the plural of Barracuda as well. 66, 18 goals, 37 assists, 55 points in those 66 games. He played one for the Sharks, no points. 16-17, he plays for the Sharks in 11 games, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points. He ends up down with the Barracuda again, 54 games, 14 goals, 25 assists, 39 points. This year, now that he has to go through waivers, he plays 16 games in San Jose and has 1 point. San Jose waives him. Nobody, including myself, said anything at the time. Now he's in Vegas. Now, he officially on Hockey Database, he's played 11 games. So now he's playing his 12th, and he scored again. So that's 12 games, 5 goals, 1 assist, 6 points. And I don't know if he's had an assist tonight or not. 40 games in his career, 7 goals, 4 assists, 11 points. Yeah, that's right. I remember to add the goal. I didn't remember to add the point. 7 and 4 makes 10. Good job, Shannon. You rock. Gary Bettman hires you. Who said that? Yeah, Vegas. So there's a twofold thing that seems to happen with the Vegas Golden Knights. This is really kind of fun to look at. So teams come in, and I think the spectacle of what's going on might be a little bit overwhelming. They might get caught up in it. Right now, the Montreal Canadiens are losing 5-2 to Vegas. I can imagine that being in that arena, which is completely different from any other NHL arena, would be kind of weird. Now, there's two things that can happen with this. Either players are going to get used to it, and Vegas is going to struggle more at home, or this is going to be a focal point of Vegas's record going forward. So from here to forever. Carpenter is just another example of a guy who's cast off by a team. The Sharks did not think Carpenter was going to get 5 goals in 12 games. But the Sharks aren't going to give Carpenter the ice time required to get those 5 goals in 12 games. Vegas doesn't have a pecking order like other teams do. You can get top 6 minutes in Vegas and you'll have a chance to score, where you may not with another team. This I think is the Vegas effect for players. So when you come in as the visitors, you're coming in with this feeling of, what the hell's going on in here? As a player with the team, you're part of the party. You're part of what's going on. You're part of this big, huge event in the city. And it's the only major league sport in town right now because the Raiders haven't arrived yet. And I don't think the Raiders arriving is going to make a big difference to these guys. I really don't. I don't think it's going to hurt attendance. I don't think it's going to hurt excitement. There's an excitement that I see in Vegas I never saw in Arizona, that I never saw in Carolina. And it translates to on the ice. And what it started to do as well is they struggled away from home for a while there. Now, a lot of that had to do with the fact that they had about 25 goalies that were injured, and they were down to an equipment manager from Toledo, Ohio. But really, good job. I'm kidding, of course. They were down to the number 5 guy, but it felt like that. Because there was that point where it looked like Legasse was going to be hurt, and it's like, holy crap, they got Ferguson and who? Vegas seems to have this effect on players on the team. So this is going to go kind of with the video I just did on whether or not they're going to fall back. Where players seem to get this boost from playing for the Golden Knights. It's a brand new team. It's a and it's not just a brand new team. It's not like when Ottawa was a brand new team, or even the Sharks were a brand new team, and you're playing with basically a team of guys that half of them probably shouldn't be in the NHL regularly. Vegas, almost every player on this team is an NHL player, and that one or two that maybe you could argue would be in the American Hockey League with another team, does it really matter? No. Carpenter is another good story this year. I don't know how far this goes. I wanted to do the video before either he blows up and becomes a star in his own right somehow. He's signed through next year, so no matter how many goals he puts up between now and the end of the year, Vegas is covered. Does this make anybody sick yet? like it's insane. This is the kind of story that happens with these guys. It's all feel-good stories. The only one that almost was a feel-bad story was Shipachev, and that's why Shipachev didn't last. He didn't fit in. He didn't get it. And as soon as George McPhee and Gerard Gallant went, this guy doesn't get it, they shipped him out of town. That's what you have to do. What I like with what's going on is that this is a waiver wire pickup. This is a kid who's played a total of 28 games. He's 27 years of age. He has 2 goals to his name before Vegas picks him up. And George McPhee, through, I have to guess it's pro scouting, and I'm going to give due credit here. Whoever did the advanced scouting for Vegas, and it wasn't all George McPhee, whoever did the advanced scouting for Vegas, those guys are the best pro scouts in the National Hockey League because they managed to find the right players to draft, and they gave all the right information to George McPhee, and they're still doing it. Somebody somewhere called George McPhee, or George saw this guy playing for San Jose, and then saw his name on the waiver wire and went, I'm picking him up. Because the way that waivers work, and I know there are some people who watch this that may not understand. So, let's say LA craps out and they go, all right, well, we don't want Phaneuf, we're going to waive him. I know you can't waive Phaneuf. I'm just using him as an example. The way that the waivers work is it's reverse order, meaning the worst team in the league has the first shot at grabbing this guy. So Ryan Carpenter could have been picked up by Arizona. And then your second choice would have been Buffalo, and so on and so on and so on. That means that Vegas, one of the last teams to have a shot at a waiver wire pickup, decided this guy was worth it, picked him up, and he's making them look like geniuses again. It's not the same story as what I told with Yanni Gourde. This is, in some ways, more amazing. Because this is a guy that as recently as right here, right this season, was on waivers this year. Well, we're already talking about Gourde being a good player. And Vegas was smart enough to pick him up. Some of the guys Vegas passed on that I was like, oh, this is crazy why they passed on those guys, aren't having great years. And yet, here we are. So Ryan Carpenter, great story. I hope he sticks around. And again, I think something happens when you put on this jersey. Something happens when you go out in front of that crowd. Something happens when you're with this team. And now even when they're on the road, they have that mentality. They have that team chemistry. And they seem to still be playing for what that logo means to them. Playing with a chip on their shoulder because they're all players, including this guy, that teams gave up on to prove you shouldn't have given up on me. I'm something. And also for the city, considering the horror that the city went through right before this team took the ice. It is an amazing story, and I don't know how far it goes, but Ryan Carpenter is now a part of it. And kind of makes Vegas better. So if you're a Vegas fan, let me know what you think. If you're a Sharks fan, did you see this in him? Was there anything in his game that made you think, with the right break, that kid can take off? And there you go. Another great story. I like doing videos on this kind of thing because it's nice to talk about a player that probably doesn't get a video somewhere else. Probably doesn't get that treatment. And there are players, when I look back to the 80s, I say, man, this guy was really unheralded. I don't like unheralded. So here you go. He's now heralded for today. Um, Hockey is a what have you done for me lately kind of thing, but he's played really well. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And Vegas, baby. I, I, I have to give due credit here because, again, George McPhee looks brilliant and makes San Jose look kind of silly for giving up a guy who's got 5 goals in 12 games. But again, he likely doesn't get that ice time in San Jose or that opportunity. I'll talk to you again soon.